Well, hi everybody and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your mindset, your life, your body, your business from where you are right now to being unstoppable. Today's topic, we're going to talk about shattering limiting beliefs, because we go through life and from an early stage in our lives, we start having these values and beliefs built into us, ingrained into us, and that's from our parents, our environment, as we get older, our friends as well. And within all of those values and beliefs, there are limiting ones where we doubt what it is that we're capable of. We look at other people and say, oh wow, they're amazing, but we never really imagine ourselves being in that same unique, amazing position. Like maybe it's 1% of the population may do that, but the majority of us are just sitting back and saying, wow, we're sitting on the sidelines rather than being on the court or in the field or in that opportunity actually doing all of the work. Now, what I want to talk to you about is some history with me and how I've found that I've had limiting beliefs that have held me back for decades, and I've identified 5 things that you can start doing straight away to help shatter these limiting beliefs. Now, I've got a whole chapter on this in my book, Awaken the Sexy Within, so I'd really encourage you to go and grab that book. Go to awakenthesexywithin.com, and it's available from all good bookstores in the US, and it's also available online in like Kindle type version or paperback. So number 1 is about stop playing the victim. Now, I did this for many years. I played the victim, and I did it in a way that related to me very personally and deeply. So for those of you that have met me before, I'm not very tall. I'm like 166 centimeters, so about 5'5" in the imperial scale. And so I'm not very big, and I was always a tiny kid. I was the smallest in my school, and I had attached my identity to my size and my looks. I said, why has this happened to me? Why am I so short? Why am I so ugly? Why will no one talk to me? Why am I so dumb? Why am I not good at school? Why do I have no friends? Why? All negative things. Now, it wasn't until many years later, well over a decade later, that I realized that none of that stuff really mattered, and where the true beauty within somebody comes from within, hence Awaken the Sexy Within. It comes from within. It's like beauty is skin deep, as they say. You might look great, but you can be a very ugly person inside. And I know some models that look stunning, and they've been in magazines and all kinds of things like that, but they're quite toxic, and I don't really want to have anything to do with them. So it's not all about the looks, and I discovered that for myself. And it was when I stopped playing that victim, and for me, back in my early teenage years and adulthood, it was about me attaching that identity to not having a partner, not having a girlfriend. And once I said to myself that, hang on, it's got nothing to do with that. And I started to tell myself that, you know what, you could have any person that you wanted if you put your mind to it and you believe that you are like a beautiful, loving person, and anyone would be lucky to have you in their life. And once I changed that identity, that gave me some confidence, and I stopped playing the victim. So many of us do this, whether it's in a body transformation. For instance, I have many people that call themselves fat, ugly, BITCHs, and they call themselves that every morning because they say, I was like that as a teenager, now I'm a mum, I'm like that too. I've always been overweight, and my family's all overweight. It's in my genes that we're just that way. And now that will be true if you attach your identity to that. The reality is probably more likely that you all live similar lifestyles which are not supporting a healthy, vibrant, energized looking, sexy body. That's more likely what the case is. You've got to find a way to stop that pattern of being a victim, because you are not. You are fantastic at what you do, and you need to tell yourself that. It doesn't mean that you become complacent, but it certainly does mean that you stop beating yourself up unnecessarily and playing a victim, because nobody cares, okay? Nobody cares, and nobody wants to be around somebody that says, wow, I'm like this, I'm like that, and poor me, poor this, poor that. So just stop it. Stop playing the victim. Number 2, what you need to do is identify what you really want with clarity and purpose. Because once you do that, you won't stop. If you identify your true passion and what it is that you truly want to do, then if that's really true to you, if you're being truthful to yourself and you're not saying, oh, well, I'm just looking to find something that's going to make me money, then you can't fail, because it's your passion. And if it's what you would die for, then of course you'll be successful, because you'll find a way to make it happen. It doesn't matter what happens, you'll find a way to make it happen. So for this whole COVID experience, I used to be, well, I still am a chartered accountant, but I don't practice as a chartered accountant anymore. Now, during this time, one of the busiest professions that we have right now is accountants. One of the quietest industries right now is the one that I'm in, which is the coaching, fitness, nutrition type business. That's the quietest. Okay, so logic might say to you, oh, well, why don't you just use your skills and go back and do accounting work? I said, well, that's not my passion. That's not where I want to be doing my work, spending my time, because I'm going to get burnt out from it, because I've done 20 years of that and it didn't fulfill me. And yeah, the money was good, but it didn't fulfill me. And money only takes you so far. I add much more value to people's lives doing what I'm doing now. So that comes from my purpose, my clarity, my vision, and why I want it. Number 3, you've got to make sure that you continue to grow yourself every single day. Remember, we're talking about shattering the limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs come from lack of self-confidence. It's not about being cocky. It's about having the confidence to know you're on the right path, the confidence to know that you're growing, you're building something every single day, and that only comes from you making sure that you develop new skills every day. You develop a greater level of thinking, whether it's strategic thinking, whether it's better time management, or whether it's finding ways to form better connections, whether it's just becoming more skilled at what it is that you do, gaining some more knowledge. It's not the lack of knowledge, but it's the lack of what you do with that knowledge, like the action that you take with that knowledge that is potentially holding you back. And a lot of that comes from fear. We have this fear that, well, what if I do that? And what if I get what I want? What'll I do then? A lot of people are scared about that. They're scared about success. And what I find is that the more you work on yourself, the more that you stop playing a victim, and you realize that, do you know what? I deserve all the success in the world. Because why? I'm worth it. And I've worked hard for this. And what I love is about Stephen Bradbury. So those of you that were at Mega Success last year, you would have seen Stephen Bradbury, the Australian Winter Olympic gold medalist that was in the final. He knew he wouldn't make the final, but he hung right at the back in the four-person race. Their clear strategy was to wait for the others to fight it out up front, one of them to fall over and he'd come through and take the bronze. Now, he never in his wildest dreams would have believed that they all took themselves out in the last 50 metres or whatever, and he came through from behind and ended up taking gold. And he said he accepted the gold not for that moment, but for the 20 years prior to that. All his work, all the dedication, all the practice, all the injuries, everything to get him to that moment. And that's why he took he took the gold. And this is what is really important to recognize in yourself, that you are worth this. And once you stop playing the victim and you realize that, you'll start to gain a different perspective. Being very clear on what it is that you want, the purpose, the passion that you have, continuing to grow yourself every day will give you confidence that you're moving in the right direction and you're getting closer and closer to where it is that you want to get to. I mean, I think it's one of those things that you never actually get there, because if you're listening to this right now, you're one of the top 1%, and that 1% keeps wanting to stay in the 1% and get even better and better and better. So you never stop. You keep moving forward. Number 4 is about continuing to grow your network. Now, this one is so powerful. You've got to keep building the people that you associate with. Now, out of all of these, maybe this is the single most powerful one, because if you think about limiting beliefs, where do they come from? A lot of these things that we put on ourselves, for sure, they come from us, but where do we get them from? We're not born with limiting beliefs. These get ingrained into us because of our environment, what we look at, what we hear over time. And where we get some of the biggest limiting beliefs, they come from the people that we hang out with. And they can be friends. Now, I'm sure you all know a friend like this, but they say you will find out who your real friends are if you try to lose weight, because you'll find that there'll be those people that are really supportive no matter what, and they say, fantastic, you're looking great, keep up the good work, let's go for a walk, let's do these things, whatever, to help. And there'll be those people that say, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? Oh, you're too skinny, you don't need to do that. That sounds crazy. Look, they'll take you out and they'll say, here, look, have some chips, have some pizza, whatever, because they're trying to sabotage what it is that you're trying to do. Now, why do they do that? Well, one, it's easier to cut people down, isn't it? People see it that way. They could either take the effort and the time and they could build themselves up, because I don't know, most humans seem to think that, well, I don't want you to change, because if you change, you might leave me behind. And that means I need to change to keep up with you. I don't want to change to keep up with you, but what makes it easier for me is if I keep cutting you down and you don't change, then I won't have to change, and bang, I'm happy. Isn't that horrible? But that's what happens. And so many of our limiting beliefs come from that. I have a client that I've been working with for some time, and she really struggles with the fact that if she completely transforms her body and say loses 10 kilos, she's afraid as to what people will think of her, how they will see her as a person. And I think, wow, that's so tough. But a lot of people are like that. And this is why most people don't change. It's why we have almost 2/3 of our planet is overweight or obese, because people know that they need to do different things to get a different result, but they don't. And they choose not to for a number of reasons, and some of it is to do with fear, and some of it's to do with the people that they hang out with. Trust me, I mean, I work so much in this space, and the way that women feel, that their partners feel about them, and the way that men feel that their partners feel about them because of the way that they look is really, really powerful. It's really powerful. And a lot of the immobilization comes from fear. When you start, you stop playing that victim and you start hanging out with different people. For instance, if you want to have, let's say you're a woman and you want to have a strong, energized, vibrant, sexy body, who are the sort of people that you want to be hanging out with? Well, you want to be hanging out with women that are strong, energized, and have sexy bodies that you want to emulate. And then what you do is you hang out with them, you have different discussions with them. Look at it this way, let's take two extremes. Take somebody that, and this isn't an exaggeration, I have clients that want to lose over 100 kilos, that's 220 pounds. So let's take that person versus an Olympic gold medalist. Now, do you think that if you got those two people together, that they're going to have a lot in common? Maybe not, but maybe they've got some things in common. Maybe they're both women, maybe they're both men, maybe they both have kids, maybe they both live in the same state. But what they will have is a completely different value and belief system. Completely different. So the athlete will have a very detailed regime as to what it is that they do every single day. The person that's overweight, in terms of their healthy regime, may be, well, I try to walk a bit and try and watch what I eat. Whereas the athlete will be very, very specific. So if that overweight person was, say, forced to live with that athlete, I guarantee you that that person would lose weight and become healthier, because they would become more like their environment. And this is why it's so powerful to keep building those networks, keep working those networks, because you just never know who you're going to meet and who's going to take you to that next level. And number 5 is about removing toxic relations. So these two kind of go together in some ways, because you're growing your network and you're removing the toxic relations that you do have in your life. Now, I've made a number of serious decisions in my life where I've had to remove those toxic people in my life because they have been holding me back. And since I've made the decisions to make those changes, life has completely changed. And if I use the example of Olympic gold medalists, like in my wildest dreams, I would never have thought that I could just pick up the phone right now and have a phone call with an Olympic gold medalist. But where I am right now, because of how I've been growing my network over the last, just over 12 months now, I could now pick up the phone and talk to 3 Olympic gold medalists. Just like that. And I'm talking to one later tonight. I can do that because I've worked hard on building my networks. Now, when we have conversations, wow, they're powerful conversations. And you don't win an Olympic gold medal by mistake. And you don't win an Olympic gold medal and then say, okay, my mindset's now just going to go back to normal and I'm just going to be lazy. They continue that mindset on through their life, and you can see it and feel it whenever I have a conversation with them. So I feel very, very blessed that I'm able to have those conversations. And what do? Well, I look to build even greater relationships with other people. You just keep on building those relationships. Removing the toxic relations is just so important. I made a really hard decision over the last 12 months, just over 12 months now, to remove a toxic relation from my life. Really personal and painful at the same time, but it was necessary for me. I mean, I think the other person, they've got a lot of growth to achieve in their own life, and sometimes it's not possible to do that while you're with someone as a partner, like an intimate partner. And sometimes you just need to let the caterpillar go so it turns into the butterfly and does its own thing. But I know since I've removed those relations, I've thrived, and life has never been in a better position. And sometimes you need to make those tough decisions so that you can be free and not feel like you're carrying around this anchor that's like dragging you, holding you back. And that might sound harsh. And in my book, I talk about some strategies as to how you can remove the toxic relations from your life. Some of the worst ones can be family members, like parents in particular. Parents can be bad. All my parents have passed away now, but you know what I'm talking about. Parents, siblings, they can be quite toxic in your life because it's those cutting comments that they say to you that can cut you down and really, really dig deep. And they'll have history because it's like every time they say it, it'll take you back to your childhood or some painful moment in your life where you can remember what they said. And back then it's like, man, you haven't changed. You always keep holding me back. You always say negative things or however you internalize it to yourself. It's really quite painful. So it can be hard. Some people are going to be in your life forever. That's just going to be the case, because you might share children or, something like that, or they're your parents. But what you can do is you can certainly have a strategy at limiting the contact, or in some cases it's just removing the toxicity altogether. If there's violence, if there's drugs, if there's a high level of negativity that's just having harm on you and your family, then that's really important. But there's other ones as well, like some more simple ones like social media, and maybe there's comments that you're seeing all the time that are not helpful. And you know what? It's okay to unfriend people. It really is. You've just got to just click that button and they don't even get a notification on it. They just become unfriended. So that's a really important one. So today, the purpose has been to how can you shatter those limiting beliefs. They're my 5 quick ways that you can do it. Really powerful. It can be also a lot more complex. I'd say go get my book, awakenthesexywithin.com. Go grab that. And if you want to have a connection with me, then you can also go to the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, scroll to the bottom, click on the link, and you can opt in for a free consultation. And I'd love to connect with you and have a conversation. Have a great day. Stay safe wherever you are, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.